What is up everyone, my name is Python with Sean and today we're back with another video. In today's video I'm going to be giving you the top 5 best tips for you to pass all your technical coding interviews. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sean and I'm a software engineer at Google. I call Rust mid and I love C++. And I'm also studying computer science at a university. So just like you guys, I also struggled a lot when I was preparing for my technical interviews, and I want to give honest advice, no BS, on how you can actually prepare and you can get ready for these technical interviews. Before the video starts, please, I would like you guys to go follow me on Twitter. My handle is Python PY with Sean, and yeah, let's get into the video. So straight off the bat, the first thing I recommend you guys do is that you go into a website called Grind75. Now, this website is one of the main websites I was using when I was preparing for my interview, and it's a website I recommend to a lot of people. The person who created this website is a really good software engineer, and I believe his name is Yang Shun, and I think he's the software engineer who created the website. It's basically just a website that allows you to filter out questions based on difficulties, set a time range for preparation for your technical interview, and overall it's a great tool. I recommend it. If you have an interview, I do recommend you hop on the Grind75. So this website basically allows you to set your time frames, like I said before, and allows you to pick topics that you can use to prepare for an interview. Now you might be wondering, which topics do I actually learn? Now this is the second resource. You hop on this website, neatscode.io, and then you do these topics by step. Now you might be asking, how do I traverse this tree? Do I use a depth first or do I use a breadth first? Now I recommend you use a breadth first, so you go from arrays to 2 pointers to stacks, from binary trees to sliding windows to linked lists, and so on. The reason why I say you should do it like this is because if you do it in a depth first manner, you're gonna realize that at some point you're gonna get into certain topics that you haven't covered the foundations enough to be able to do those certain topics. So I do recommend you do it in a breadth first manner because that's the way I did it, and it is like the best way because you're gonna be facing a lot of fundamentals and get your foundation strong. So start with arrays, hashing, 2 pointers, stacks. So how's the workflow? You start with this topic and you go to the Grind75. The next thing you want to do is that you want to go to the show topics. I believe it should be. Sorry, I'm not wearing. I am wearing my glasses, but yeah, it's right there. I don't know. Did it change? What the hell? Okay. And then next thing you want to click on clear all, and then you want to go to array, and then hashing. Does it have hashing? Hashing. We'll just do a hash table. That's fine. Okay. Once you select array and hash table, the next thing you want to do is that you want to select your difficulties. Now, if you're preparing for an interview, I recommend you remove hard. And if depending on how long your interview is, I don't recommend you put 8 weeks. I always just put 1 week to make it look as if the interview is tomorrow, so I can prepare as much as possible. And then you want to put this at the max amount of hours. And ideally, I'm not going to lie to you, when I was preparing for my coding interview, I was waking up by 5 a.m. every day and doing leak code to 12 a.m. the next day because I did really want to get into Google. So depending on how good your attention span is and how long you can actually sit on your computer and code, I would say do as much problems as you can. Now that brings us to the next point. How do you actually solve problems? Because a lot of people wonder, if I get into a problem, I don't know how to solve it, I'm dumb. Now, that's just one quick thing I also want to point out. You are not stupid. You're not dumb. LeetCode is designed in a way that if you don't know certain patterns, and these patterns is what I'm going to stress on in a few seconds, but if you don't know these patterns, you're going to struggle a lot with certain problems, not because you're dumb, just because you haven't seen this specific pattern before. Now, for example, let's say I wanted to solve a nice, interesting problem like merge intervals. Now, merge intervals is a problem I've actually solved before. Now, you won't be able to solve merge intervals if you haven't done insert intervals, because insert intervals requires you to be able to solve merge intervals. Now, that's just an example of what I'm trying to say, because essentially, when I did see this problem, I'd already solved insert intervals, which allowed me to solve this problem relatively pretty simply. I don't even think my solutions is even that good. And one thing I want to quickly just say is that you will fail a lot, because obviously, if you look at this, I did get a lot of wrong answers, right? And that being said, I did solve insert intervals and I did understand the pattern I needed to solve it. That being said, I still made a lot of mistakes and failed quite a lot, as you can see. That brings my second point. Sorry, I just realized that when I was editing the video, I said that I solved insert intervals before I solved merge intervals. That was actually a mistake. So I do these videos raw, you guys, so I tend to make a little bit of mistakes there and there, but I just want to make sure that this video makes no mistakes, because I know people are going to be watching this and using this for their framework. You solve merge intervals before you do insert intervals. Merge intervals, you're given an array of arrays, and each of these arrays are basically intervals, and you essentially have to, any two arrays inside the array, like, okay, I don't know if people are able to understand. Any two arrays inside the arrays. That's usually what I meant. Okay, yeah. Any two arrays inside the arrays that are interlapping with each other in terms of the time, the start time and end time, you essentially have to merge them together so they become one single coherent interval. This problem is very similar to the insert interval, and essentially how you can solve insert interval is that you insert an array, that new array that I'm trying to insert into the intervals array, and then you merge it. It's essentially the same thing as merge intervals, but just one extra step. And that's what I meant by you have to solve you have to get this pattern, because when I did solve merge intervals, I was able to solve insert intervals, which was just merge intervals but with an extra step, by just inserting an extra interval. So that's what I essentially meant. And yeah, I'm gonna take it back to the video now. What do you do when you fail? Now, the best framework I can advise you if you are preparing for your coding interview, and listen up very closely. If you're doing a problem, give yourself 30 minutes, because realistically in an interview, you're going to have around 45 to an hour amount of time to be able to solve a specific question. If you can't solve the question in 20 to 30 minutes, what do you do? Now, the moment you set a timer and you can't solve it, stop. Don't even bother trying to solve it. You're not going to be able to think of the solution. And even if you do, it's pointless, because in an interview, good luck trying to remember the solution after the interview has happened. Too late, mate. So what do you do? What you do is that you go on YouTube and you go to neetcode.io. An extension I actually had was I believe it's the LeetCode Solutions, which actually when you click here, it already shows the solutions. So if you go on Google Chrome, you can type in Chrome extensions. Okay? And then when you go to Chrome extensions, you can install an extension called LeetCode Video Solutions. So just type in LeetCode Video Solutions. Really good extension. This is what I used when I was preparing. It saves you time from having to go all the way to YouTube and then type in the description. Instead, when you go on this solutions tab, it already has the video there and you just watch it.
Hey everyone.
So when you are watching the video, this is the GOAT NeetCode. If you guys don't know who NeetCode is, he's the GOAT, way bigger YouTuber than I am. He basically makes videos, tutorials on LeetCode to the specific questions. If you guys want me to do the same thing, please comment below so I can start making similar videos. Now, when you do watch the video, what I do recommend you do. So you've watched the video now. You do not go back to LeetCode. I repeat, you do not go back to LeetCode to solve it. What you do is that you watch the video and try and understand it. Write down examples. Every time I'm doing a LeetCode question, I always have at least 2 papers with me. These papers are not for fun. The papers are there so I can visualize what he's saying and try to understand the approach and his thought process as to how he was able to get his solution. Always write down what he's saying. Even after he's gone through one example, try and go through, make your own custom example and go through that again with your own intuition and see if you can get the same solution that he got with his own algorithm. It shows that you understand his thought process and his algorithm, and you're applying it by yourself to your own custom inputs. It means that you understand how to solve it, essentially. Now, once you do finally understand it, you've gone through examples, you think you understand the algorithm, do not touch LeetCode. In fact, do the opposite. Go do something else. Walk outside. Go to the park. Pray. Play video games. Watch anime. Read a book. Right? Give yourself exactly 1 hour. Make sure you forget. Just try and forget, because essentially we don't want a case where you're just copying and pasting the code he's written, right? We want to make sure you understand the algorithm, the intuition. Those are those patterns I was talking about earlier, and we're going to talk about them in a second. Is on this website, which I'm going to talk about. But essentially, make sure you don't go on LeetCode yet. After you've watched the solution, you've gone to go do something for at least 1 hour. You've played outside. You've fed your pets. Come back to your computer, okay, and then ask yourself, what was the algorithm that NeetCode just showed me? Write it down on paper again. Try and code it up. If you are able to code it up, and now most people in this stage, If you might not even be able to solve the solution even after that 1 hour has passed. And what does that mean? It means you did not understand the solution well enough. If you did understand the solution, basically why I am telling you to go out for 1 hour and do something else is that your brain actually does something that I noticed I was doing this a lot as well when I was preparing for my interview. Your brain has like a side process. Think about it like when you have a process, your brain spawns a new thread. And this thread is going to be thinking about the solution in the background while you're doing your main process, whether it's feeding your dog or doing something. So you aren't doing the problem, but you are technically thinking about it. And that thread is going to keep on running until you get back onto your computer, and then I don't know, it gets killed, or the thread stops what it's doing essentially, right? So what I am trying to do is that you're training your brain is thinking about the solution, but you're not actually solving the problem. So it's trying to understand, it's going through examples, it's feeding your brain knowledge. That makes sense. When you do come back and you do try to solve it, if you are able to solve it, congratulations. You do understand the algorithm, but you're not done yet. If you don't know how to solve it and you came back after an hour and you weren't able to solve it, don't give up. I still have some more advice. Because don't worry, this did happen to me multiple times. There were times when I would want the solution, go out, come back. I thought I understood it and I still couldn't code it out. This is what I'm going to tell you, okay? What I'll say is, don't do the problem anymore. Go to another question. Okay. The reason why I'm telling you not to do the question anymore is because if you've already tried the intuition before and you failed at it, you're kind of wasting time. And what I mean, go to another question, I'm not saying like give up on the question, right? I'm saying go to a similar another question within the same topic. Okay. Try and solve that next question again. And the process repeats, right? But also try and keep a note of all these questions that you did come back after an hour and you weren't able to solve. The reason why I'm saying this is because you're going to go through them again the next day, but you're going to try and get your brain working with other problems. The reason why you're doing this is so you don't get fatigued and tired and bored and like, oh bro, I can't be asked to LeetCode anymore for today. This is the general method I was using, and it kept me like energized because, okay, I failed this one, I'm going to take it again tomorrow. It will make you want to come back to the problem again tomorrow and want to solve it, okay? So I failed this question today, I came back, I thought I understood the algorithm, I still wasn't able to do it. That's fine, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm going to the next question to test myself if I can solve a new question. And the same process repeats for that new question. It could happen again for next 10 questions, let's say. You write them down and you visit them again tomorrow. Now, for those who are actually able to come back and solve the problem successfully, congratulations, you do understand the algorithm. Like I said before, you're not yet done. Now, what does that mean? You still have to come back the next day, still write down that problem and try and optimize the solution. Now, what do I mean by optimize the solution? Most times when you're given a problem, you might not know it, but there are actually follow-ups to a question. And this was the biggest mistake I made. In my Google interview, I was given a problem. I solved it, it works. But my interviewer asked me, Sean, can you optimize? A lot of people make these mistakes. You think, oh, I got a solution working. That's the end of the problem. No, that's not the end. Now, testing your brain is how you can optimize the solution to make it better than it is currently. An example, a problem I did recently with one of my friends who is also a software engineer at Meta. Let me just type it in. I believe it's majority elements. Okay, majority elements. Hopefully my disgusting code isn't here. Okay, guys. Google, please don't see this. This is some next level if nested ifs. Okay. It was like 10 a.m. in the night. Okay, sorry, I said 10 a.m. 10 p.m. in the night. Okay, I was just tired. Okay, I was just writing some jibbery, and I was like, you know what? Time to solve this problem. Now, most of you might now see at the bottom here where it says follow up. Solve this problem with linear time and all of one space. Now, most of you that have like really good at LeetCode, at first when you see this problem, you're like, oh, this is easy. All I need to do is have a hash map, keep each value in the array as a key, and have its frequency as a value. And at the end, I just need to basically check through the hash maps items and essentially get the value with the highest frequency and then return that, because that's the answer to the solution. Or most of you that are even using Python, like myself, would have just returned return collections.counter dot most common, which returns a tuple of element, or is it tuple? I believe an object, an array object. I don't remember. Basically, returns an array object with the elements in an array with the key and the value, which is its frequency, and then you do like index zero, which would be the first elements, which would be the element that appeared the most. Essentially, that's like a Pythonic way of solving, and that's how I used to do it. But that doesn't mean anything because in the interview the thing about Google is that they could just ask you randomly, good, you were able to solve it, but can you optimize? Now, was the biggest mistake I made because I also struggled a lot with optimizing my solutions. I don't even think I ever optimized any of my solutions. I just said, oh, great, I understood the solution, on to the next. But those who fully understand this, when I was talking about the pattern recognition, those intuitions, those are the ones, the people who get really good at those are the people who stay back an extra hour and try and optimize. It's again, it's trying to improve your problem solving skills, not just for the technical interview. Forget the technical interview. Can you optimize the solution even more? If you understand the problem, you're able to solve it. That's good. But can you do better? That's the question. And that was the mistake I made. You pass an interview question, your lead code question, and you go straight to the next question. You're not done. Try and optimize. That's one thing I would advise everyone to do. Please, if you're able to solve it, dedicate another 1 hour, check for a more optimal solution and try and understand why that more optimal solution works. The reason why I'm saying this is that you could face another problem in the future that the intuition is the same, but your solution you used in the past solution was actually too slow to solve it, and you need the most optimal solution from your past solution to solve this current solution problem you're on. And this was actually an example of what happened to me in my interview. I recommend, again, if you are solving a problem, you're able to solve it really quickly, check and wonder, is there a faster approach? Obviously, you can't go faster than O of 1, right? But think, if you did something like O of n, is that an O of log n? So is O of log n solution? Is there something even faster than n? Right? Can I go faster than that? Always ask yourself these, and these are even things I'm telling myself. And this is an example because my naive approach was always using a hash map. But yesterday, I was solving this with my friend who's also an engineer on Meta, and it turns out there's actually another approach where you don't even need the hash map. You essentially just iterate through each element, and you have two int variables which are stored on the stack. One of them is going to be called the value, and the second is going to be called the count. You essentially start off with the when I is equal to 0, I make my major equal to the first element I'm on, and I set the count to be 1. If I is not equal to 0, it means we've passed the first index, right? I'm sure you guys understand most of this code. And then you check if the number index I is equal to major, that means we found another number that is that number. So it's one more number of being the most major number element in the array. And if you find a number that is not equal to the major, that means it's one less number of becoming the most major element in the array. If the count minus one of that major element is equal to 0, that means it's no more the major. So the new element you're on is the major, if that makes sense. And this was a really interesting problem because it's actually just a greedy solution to solving it. And this is just an example of how you could actually solve your problems. I'm talking a lot here to try and emphasize the importance of being able to optimize your solutions. Even if you think you understand the solution, try and always aim to try and find out, is there a better solution, and get that in your brain. Trust me, don't make the same mistake I made. Okay, great. Now you've gotten my main frameworks that I use for preparing for my interviews. The next thing I'll say, which is one of the most important things for any technical interview, not just Google, is your communication skills. Now, another extension I recommend you guys get, I know I've recommended a lot of extensions today, but another extension I recommend you guys get is something called Leet Rooms. Now, part of problem solving, a part of being human in general, is communicating with other human beings. I mean, it's great being able to talk and socialize with other human beings. Us as human beings, we're social beings, right? So we like talking a lot, and this is something that you actually need to be able to do if you're a problem solver. Being able to tune down your solution to other people so they're able to understand your solution and also communicate well with other people is what makes you a really good problem solver. It's not really useful if you're a problem solver, you're the smartest in the world, and all you do is solution done, and you're not able to communicate, and you're like, I can't talk to you. It's not really good, right? So another extension I recommend you guys get is Leet Rooms. Now, Leet Rooms is basically a competitive leet code extension that allows you to be able to create a competitive room, and you can basically play against your friends and invite them to the same room as you, and you guys do a variety of leak code questions. The person who solves these leak code questions, all of them, the fastest wins, and it has like first place, second place, third place, right? I do this every single now with my friends. So if you guys also want to join us as well, the Discord is in the description below. We all are like, trust me, my Discord server, we're all kind people. Like we are like literally we're just chill guys. Like let me just full screen of this. We're just cool we're just cool guys, right? So we are really chill, and if you are looking for people you want to do leak code with, I love coding with other people. So I just love it. I'm a social person. I'm a very kind person. So I just like coding with other people. I like working with other people. So if you do want to, and again, this leak code thing is not just for jobs. Forget about jobs. It's about becoming a better engineer. I want to be able to see problems I've never seen before and be able to solve it and communicate to my team and make problems solvable or solved or whatever you want. I don't know, I'm nerding out right now. What am I saying? But yeah, the point being said is that if you do want to work with join us and do some niche rooms, the Discord server is in the link below, and yeah, you can join us, and we're so nice people. Like if you join the call, trust me, we're really chill. We just love solving problems. Even my friend at Meta, he's like really good at, he's cracked at maths. He literally, he's so humble even when he's explaining math topics to me and my other friends. We're all chill people, trust me. Like, join us if you do want to join us, and leave rooms is basically an extension that just allows you to be able to practice with your friends. Now, why am I saying this? When you are solving these problems, if you are preparing for an interview, I recommend you do get friends that are doing the same major as you, like computer science or engineering or anything that has to do with coding, and you do these things with them. The reason why I'm saying this is that you can. What I normally did before my interviews, I did 1 hour with these leak rooms with my friends. One of them being a Meta, the other one, I think we used to do this with, he's currently at MongoDB. My other friend now at MongoDB, and my other one at JP Morgan. We all these like do these kind of like leak rooms where we basically do a list of problems and we'll basically just solve them together. And what we did is that we always used to communicate our thought process. Now, the very most important thing I'll stress in any interview you're doing, never keep quiet. I said this at my panel interview at Bristol. I'm going to keep on saying this again. If you are solving a problem and you do not understand it, communicate your solution. A very good example of this was when I was solving a question known as coin change. I don't know if you guys know what coin change is. Coin change is basically is a classic dynamic programming question that you can solve, I believe, with you can solve it using the bottom-down approach. Yeah, so using memoization. So this was a very classic problem I solved when I was preparing for my coding interview. Sorry guys, another mistake I made during editing. Solving coin change, I said bottom-down approach. Okay, again, I make these videos raw, so sorry again, I made a mistake. I meant to say you can solve coin change using the top-down approach, using memoization. And I literally physically did top down and said bottom down. Again, sorry for these mistakes. I meant to say top down, which is essentially memoization, where you essentially start from the top. You solve sub problems, and you basically cache the solutions to those sub problems. And you go down the decision tree. If you see a sub problem that you've already solved before, you essentially return the results computation you had already solved before in the other sub-problem to that specific problem, so you don't have to do the computation again. And that's essentially what I meant. I don't know why I made that mistake, but yeah, this is again raw. I had to quickly just record this again to quickly correct myself, because talking for 30 minutes without making a mistake, I don't think that's possible, but yeah, let's go. Again, I had no idea what I was doing, but when I did solve the problem, I was communicating a lot of well, this wasn't for my Google interview, it was like my prep interviewer, my friend. So that's one thing I'll say again. Get a lot of friends, like I was saying before, get a lot of friends that can prep interview you, so you can communicate with them and get better. If I tell you the amount of people I messaged when I was preparing for my coding interview, I messaged everybody. Like everybody, I was messaging every single person. Yo, can you prep interview me? Yo, can you prep interview me? Not because I just want to disturb them. No, because I want to be in an interview setting and test myself for my communication and problem solving. So this problem, I had no idea how to solve it. But my interviewer gave me a hint, which basically allowed me to be able to spot what the problem was asking, and I was able to solve this problem. I do recommend, again, if you don't know how to solve a problem, you communicate with your interviewer. You start asking questions like, how big is the input? Is the input ever going to be empty? What is the most optimal solution? Sorry, you don't ask them what is the most optimal solution. I'm sorry. What am I saying? You tell them what the most optimal solution is, you're thinking, or preferably you can even solve the brute force. You don't have to go with the most optimal. The one thing you never tell yourself in an interview, that you have to go with the most optimal. Surprisingly, most of the time you can even just do the most brute force and call it a day, and they let you in. I'm not even capping. So whatever is in your mind, talk it out. Don't be talk. Just talk. It's not hard. Talk. I don't know why I'm screaming. Why am I screaming? But essentially, make sure you're communicating what is in your mind with your interviewer, so they know where you are currently with the problem and can assess you properly. If that makes sense. And now finally, I'm going to talk about those patterns I was talking about. This is the last step of the video, and I recommend everyone follows them. Which patterns do you use when you're preparing for coding interviews? Now, majority of the patterns I'm talking about are on this list, and I'm going to tell you the personal ones I use, and I really wish someone had told me when I was preparing. The first pattern you need to understand is your arrays. Just do these patterns in general. So arrays, 2 pointers, stacks, binary search, sliding window, right? Make sure you understand this quadrants of it. You don't link this, put linked lists on the side for now, okay? Linked lists are important. Know your linked list questions, understand how linked lists work, how to traverse them, how to remove nodes, how to insert nodes, stuff like that. But arrays, stacks, 2 pointers, binary search, sliding window, understand these very well. Trust me, especially 2 pointers and sliding window, because these two patterns, and binary search as well, binary search as well. These three patterns are used a lot in most of your, I don't know, I guess greedy. You can call them greedy intervals. Yeah, I think, yeah, neat code literally put in a way. Priority key, no, you don't use that a lot. Priority key, just an abstract data structure like heaps, max heaps, min heaps. But my point being, just make sure you understand these three patterns very well. Once you understand them, trees, I cannot stress how important trees are. Even up to today, I'm still solving tree problems. I still solve tree problems up to today because they form as such a good foundation for what? For recursion. Recursion can be used to solve a lot of problems that you have no idea how to solve, and it's technically most of the time always the brute force solution you would go for. Recursion is always used for your brute force approach. And obviously, when I say, you might be thinking, well, you can actually optimize recursion. It doesn't have to be brute force. You can use memorization to basically cache results and stuff like that. I'm just talking about like things like backtracking, for example, when you're just making recursive calls and you're not caching. Things like this tend to be your most brute force solution, and I do recommend that you understand your trees really well to be able to solve these problems. Tries was a funny one. I would say learn tries, but don't. If you are preparing for a technical interview, these three trees, make sure you understand backtracking. Backtracking is really important. The best problem I recommend for backtracking is I think it's subsets and combination sum. Combination sum is the best one I recommend for backtracking because it really makes you understand this idea of, okay, I've gone down this path of the decision tree, I come back up, can I try out another path? It's really, really, really good, and you use that in combination sum and subsets as well, permutations. I'm probably going to continue doing these problems and probably record a video of me doing them as well, like live. And if you guys want to see me like leak coding and writing some horrible code, let's get it. Graphs. Now, graphs didn't come out of my interview, but I do recommend you know them. Understand that graphs can have cycles. So your DFS, your BFS, it's basically the same thing you're using in your trees, right? So understand. I'm talking about in terms of like if you do have like an interview coming up soon, learn your graphs. If you do have time, learn graphs, but make sure you just understand the most important ones. So like BFS, DFS, adjacency list, which is just an array, a hash map kind of way of representing your graph. Matrix, DFS, BFS, yes. I think you learn these matrix, DFS, and BFS in your arrays here. An example would be, for example, valid Sudoku, which requires you to... No. I guess a good question of that would be flood fill. I think flood fill is a good one. Flood fill. Yeah, this is a good one for DFS BFS, but for matrix DFS BFS. DP, understand one DP. Now before my interview, I actually did one 2D 2DP question. That was the only I only did one. I still haven't solved longest common subsequence. Oh my, okay, that's a problem I'm probably gonna solve on stream one day. Unique parts was one of the problems. It was the only problem I'd solved. 0-1. Oh my god, I'm starting to reminisce over all these concepts. But yeah, make sure you do one DP. One DP is obviously easier than 2DP. This is like a good foundation, as in the sense where you wouldn't need, you can solve most of these problems by using memoization or tabulation. You don't necessarily need a matrix, and like for solving longest common subsequence, you wouldn't need a matrix to basically would I say cache? I don't know how to explain it. Like, I believe they call it the knapsack. This essentially 0-1 knapsack. Again, I haven't done too much 2DP questions. I still need to work on those as well. But solve most of the 1DP questions can be solved with that I can tell you. Most of them can be solved using just tabulation and memoization. Yeah, I can confidently say that most of them can be solved using memoization and tabulation. Bit manipulation questions, flip bit manipulation questions. I hate this type of questions. My friend Ameta, he always makes fun of me because I don't know why I just suck at these questions. I don't know I don't know why I hate bit manipulation questions. But if you can do them as well, overall the main ones I would say is your 2-pointer binary search sliding window, trees, your graphs, backtracking, 1DP. Obviously do them in the breadth first search manner like I said before. 2-pointers, binary search, sliding window, trees, backtracking, graphs, 1DP. If you can go to heap, priority queue, intervals, greedy, advanced graphs, math and geometry, I can go ahead and do that. But essentially the main ones, 2-pointer, binary search, sliding window, trees, backtracking, graphs, 1DP, intervals, greedy. I think that's a good starting point, depending on how long your interview is. Obviously, if you have more time, you can do as much as you can. This is essentially just the kind of like the tier list I used. I think there was also a YouTuber I used to watch, Leet Code. I think I just hop on YouTube real quick. Sorry, I'm just gonna quickly open my YouTube real quick, and just quickly type in like the Leet Code patterns to solve Leet Code. I don't know. There was this guy. Yeah, he's the one I recommend that you watch. Hello. Yeah.
Less time and helps you quick.
Yeah, so he's someone I recommend you watch. This was also a YouTuber I watched to be able to prepare. Ashish Patrap Singh. He has really good patterns that he basically broke down all the patterns you need, and these are basically all the patterns you need. And I think most of them is literally what I was saying in the video. And yeah, essentially that's basically it you need. Make sure to use this website. Join the Discord server. Practice with friends. Make sure you practice your communication skills. Remember to like and subscribe. I noticed a lot of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Please subscribe. We need to get to 2,000 subscribers, guys. Come on. And share the video with your friends. I could also have technical coding interviews. And yeah, stay blessed, everyone. Have a good time. Spread positivity. And yeah, it's your boy Python with Sean. And I'll see you in the next one.